Okay, so let's get going on this one. Again, we're going to be making this right arm, right hand, finish up this right foot, duplicate them, make the left arm, left hand, and left leg, left foot, and we'll try to get to the head on this one. We'll see how far we get. So again, double click the body symbol. Okay, so now we're back inside the symbol, and let's start by finishing up this left foot. So have it, the layer checked right here, and for this one, I like to zoom in. Again, I push the hotkey Z to allow me to do that, so we're nice and close and zoomed in. And for this one, I'm just going to use a rectangle, and yeah, let's get going on this one. Now, first off, I want to snap this corner. I want to snap these corners, so I'm going to go back to this magnet, and let's snap it to this corner, and let's snap it right there. Okay, and take snapping off. Let's adjust this so this point right here is at the tip of that toe, and this point is at the tip of this toe, and make this nice and rounded. Now we have a couple points that we're missing because we're only using a rectangle, so I'm going to start by adding some more points. So remember, I'm going to hold down Alt and put a point in there, and let's go ahead and round this toe off. Might need a little bit of adjustment, and we'll bring a point out here, again holding down Alt, and put another point in here, holding down Alt, and round that toe, adjust this toe and fix that arc, and that looks pretty good. That looks pretty close, so let's round this off. In case we have to move this foot at all, which I'm pretty sure we will. And this might prove to be a problem, this point right here, but we won't know until we start moving it, and once we do that we can change it. I'm going to go back and select this show all layers, and had to click it twice, and I'm going to delete this fill. Alright, so it's deleted, and it's a lock the right foot. Now let's go ahead and make the right arm. So it's up here, and you know what? I need to make a layer for the right arm hand. So let's do that first, and I want that layer to show up underneath the right arm, so I'm going to click the layer underneath it, come down here and create a new layer, and this one I'm going to name right arm hand. Alright, okay, so let's start with the right arm though, and again I'm going to use a rectangle for this one as well, and let's get rid of this inner space. Drag this point here, and so I'm going to need a point right here for the elbow. So let's go ahead and make that, holding down Alt, and I need another point here for the inner arm, and for most purposes that's going to work just fine, but let's see what we can do to making this as close as possible. So I'll add a point here, add another point there, so now I can sort of round off this elbow point. So let's make another point. Point here. And point up here so we can round this thing off. make some adjustments, but that's going to be our right arm. Okay, so right arm lock, and now we're moving to the right arm hand. Again, I'm going to do this one with a rectangle and just add points. Alright, hotkey V for the select tool, delete the inside, and let's go ahead and put the snapping on and snap this point and that point. Alright, take snapping off, and let's make this hand. Okay, so I'm going to make a point for this little meaty part on the palm by holding down Alt, and add another point here. We can round this off so it looks a little bit more natural, and need to add a point here for the knuckle. We can round this off. For the claw, and add another point. Remember, adding points is just holding down Alt, and add a point here for that claw, add a point there for the knuckle, round that off, and now I'm going to round this end. I see, that might work. That doesn't look so bad actually. So when we move this hand, it won't look like there's empty space, and we can always go in there and adjust it again if need be, so no worries there. And alright, so I'm going to lock that layer, so zoom out, and so we should have these limbs all lined out. So the next thing I want to do is I want to copy them over. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to unlock the right arm, and by just selecting this layer you can see that it selected this whole layer. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit Command D or Control D on the PC. On the Mac it's Command D, PC Control D, and what that does is it duplicates that shape. So now we can move it around, and now I'm going to cut it with Command X on the Mac, Control X on the PC, and that cuts it. Now I'm going to go to the left arm layer and right click anywhere on the stage and click Paste in Place. So there it is. It is now on the left arm layer, and let's go ahead and position it. So when this thing's all colored, we're not actually going to see it because it's going to be behind it. So what we can do is we can go to this free transform tool. There's the bounding box, and remember I'm going to resize this, so I need to hold down Shift. So I'm going to make it a little bit smaller since it's further away, and I'm actually going to rotate it so it hangs out a little bit. I might need to adjust it. Okay, so now we have the left arm, and I'm going to lock that layer. Again, we need to add a layer here for the left arm hand, and that's exactly what I'm going to label it. Left arm hand. And to do this one, I'm going to lock that right arm, unlock the right arm hand, and select that layer. So now it's selected. Command D to duplicate it, move it out here. Let's go ahead and move it in place. We can actually resize it right now, holding down Shift, make it a little bit smaller. And let's get the selection tool and get those bounding boxes out of the way. Now with it selected, I could use the arrow tools to make little fine adjustments. That looks about right. And so I want to select that one. again, and since it was still in the same layer, I'm going to have to go and select just this hand. So to do that, I'm going to hold down Shift and select this layer. Oh, looks like I'm going to have to select individual pieces. This is what happens if you don't put it on its own layer immediately. Okay, so now it's the only thing selected. It's still on the right arm hand layer, so I need to move it to its own layer. So I'm going to hit Command X on the Mac or Control X on the PC. So I cut it. Now I'm going to go and select the left arm hand layer and right click anywhere, paste in place. Okay, so now it has its own layer. I'm going to lock it and lock them both. So now we have two sets of arms, and they are on their own layers and in the right order. Let's do the same thing to the leg. So first thing, I remember I made two parts to this leg, so I'm going to have to make those layers on this one here. So it was right leg lower, so I need to make the left leg lower. So I'm going to do that right now underneath the left leg. New layer, name it left leg lower. Alright, so first thing, I'm going to unlock my leg layers, and I'm going to start by selecting the right leg. Alright, so Command D, now it's duplicated, put it in its right place, and let's cut it. Command X, go to left leg, right click on the stage, paste in place. There it is. And before I resize this one, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste the whole leg over and then resize it all together, and I'll show you how to do that. So let's lock this one for now and lock the right leg for now. So now let's grab the right leg lower. Okay, there it is. It's highlighted. Now let's select it. It's selected. Let's duplicate it. Alright, and move it over. And for this one, I'm actually going to put the snapping on so we can get it right in the right place. And alright, looks pretty good. Oh, and I didn't place it on its own layer, so we got to do that. So Control X, go to left leg lower, right click on the stage, paste in place. There it is. Let's lock it for now. Let's also lock the right leg lower. We don't want to select that by accident. Now we're going to grab the the right leg foot, and let's duplicate it. Command D, Windows is Control D, and my snapping's still on, so let's snap it to that point and cut it. We're going to cut it. Command X, select the left leg foot layer, right click on the stage, paste in place. Okay, so the leg is there, and let's make sure we lock the right leg foot. Okay, so now we want to resize this. So what I'm going to do is unlock the left leg lower, and the left leg foot. So they're all unlocked, and now I want to select them all. By holding down Shift, I can select all three of these layers, and I'm going to go to the Free Transform tool, and holding down Shift, I'm going to make that whole leg smaller, and let's move it right here. Actually, let's make it a little bit smaller. That looks good to me. Alright, so there we go. We have these legs and arms all done. See, it looks a lot better too. Looks like it has a little bit more stability. So let's lock these layers. And that took quite a bit, so let's end this video right here. Make sure we save it, So Control S to save on the PC, Command S to save on the Mac. So now it's saved, and when we come back, I promise we'll do the head and the spikes. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video.